Okay, it should be recording now. Okay, today's lesson is going to be a brief introduction to working with audio in iMovie. First of all, we'll start with the most obvious audio you need to work with, and that's the audio in the clip itself. So if you have a clip like this one here that I'm clicking on right now, you probably see underneath here a little line with mine got some yellow color in there. That's the audio track. Now I could put my cursor over it like this. See where it becomes a double arrow there? And I hold down the mouse button, it's at 100%. That's the default. And I can drag it up or down. I could drag it down to like 35%. If it was really low audio for some reason, I can go as high as 400%. 400% may sound like it really, really cranks it up, but it's not quite as big of an increase as you might think. But it's helpful when you do need to crank the audio a little bit. So your goal in a lot of video projects is to even out the audio between all your sources. And when you got multiple sources on top of each other, such as music over a sports clip, you have to decide how much of the audio do I want to hear from either one. So as for starters, let's say there is no other audio ever going to be added to this project. You probably are okay just to leave it at 100% unless for some weird reason you are having a bunch of different noise levels depending on where you're recording. Now this one here, you can drag this, but it's kind of a hassle. A lot of times when you drag up and down, it stops at certain points and it's not that precise. So what I normally do, sometime when I'm in a hurry I do this, what I normally do is I click on the clip, I go way up here to the top, and it looks like a little speaker with sound coming out. That's volume. If you click on that, there's a slider here, and this is a lot nicer to work with. It's more precise. You can go literally percent by percent, and while you're doing it, if you look at your video clip, you'll see that going up and down. Sometime even if it's at 100% sounds okay. If I notice it's way up high, the little yellow color there, a lot of times I'll bring it down to like 90 or something just to take a little bit of the edge off. Oftentimes it'll make it sound a little bit nicer. It's not quite as high end on there. And then if you're doing multiple clips, let's say I want to do, I listen to all these and I like them, but I want to bring them all down a little bit. I can do a shift click and select multiple ones here, and then go up here and drag them all up or down together. So you have a few options there on how to do that. But I use this here all the time. Now another one while I'm here, I may as well mention it, though I rarely use it, is next to the volume there's a noise reduction equalizer. If you click on that, they have something called reduce background noise. You can click the checkbox and you can do this slider. Now I've done that when I've had humming or other weird background noises, but unfortunately it's not as simple as just take out the noise you don't want. It often will harm the audio you do want. So I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying you could try it out. You really got nothing to lose to try it. And if it makes your audio sound better, so be it. If it doesn't, just undo it and go back to the way it was. This equalizer doesn't give you a lot of options. They got something called voice enhance, music enhance, and so on. I rarely use it. I have had a few cases where it was helpful for certain things. They do have a hum reduction in there. So again, like the same with this here, you could try it out. If it helps your audio, great. If it doesn't, just go back to the default flat and you can do that as is. Okay, now a more typical type of edits you're doing is, okay, you have a clip here, you put in some titles or whatever, and you want to put some music under it. Now, you could we're going to go up here to the audio section. I'm going to introduce you that right now. You click up here where it says audio. Now, what audio can you use? You can click in iTunes. Now, I've not shared any music with you for iTunes yet, so you probably don't have anything in there unless you put some of your own in there. But if you did have anything in your iTunes music collection, for a sample here, I'll just randomly drag one. I'll say, what if I want Sweet Child of Mine? So I click that. Whoops. This is a little quirky sometimes. Let's see. There it is. Okay. This can be a little quirky sometime to drag. There it comes. Now that's the entire song. So if I put that from the beginning here, I put my playhead there. There's a default volume on it. I could hit play. Whoop, I accidentally did Sweet Caroline. Sorry about that. I was in a hurry and saw Sweet and grabbed the wrong one. Okay, there it is. That's probably better. Okay, not that I don't like Sweet Caroline, but that's probably not the one I want for a football play. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, as you can hear, the music's coming in, but in a moment, we're going to have two audio sources. Okay, we got the game and we got the music. Now, what it comes down to now is precision editing. Okay, you could leave it. Maybe that's the sound you want. You're going to get a fair amount of audio from the play and from the fans and everything, and you're going to get the music. You can listen to that mix, see what you think of it. But chances are that's not the mix you want. Now, one extreme is to literally pull this down all the way. So you get absolutely nothing from the video clip. So everything is just from the song. And there are times you're going to do that. There are times you're just going to want to hear the music. You don't want to hear anything from the clip. But when I'm editing a sports thing like this, there's a lot of excitement at the event. I like to hear some of the sound from the event. So that rarely is something I would do with a segment like this. So I'm going to bring this here back up. Now, I'm just going to randomly put it at 56%. Okay, that's somewhere in the middle there. Okay, and I'm going to see what that sounds like. Okay, now at this combination, I can hear the music. I hear some cheering and some sound from the game itself. And as you're mixing, now there's a lot of factors that go into your audio mixing. Obviously, when you're doing a whole segment, you're going to have other types of video, other types of music, and you might have clips of different songs or whatever, and they're not all going to be at the same volume level. So the decisions of what volumes everything should be at is going to be affected by a lot of different factors. But if it was just this here, that wouldn't be all bad, I think. Something like that. I turn down the original clip to 56%. I get the full audio of the song. And that's not all bad. And again, you could sit with headphones and listen to this and do a precision edit. Now, for working with beside the volume, let me show you one other thing while I'm here. See this, when you go up here, you got a little dot over here on the left and on the right. You can drag that a little bit in from the left, a little bit in from the right, and that does your fades. You fade your music in or your sound in, you fade it out. You can do the same thing down here with this song. I could fade that in, and I could, at the other end, fade it out. Now, when we're doing these type of segments, it's rare we use an entire song. We usually use parts of a song. I'm going to pretend I want the beginning for simplicity's sake, but when I get up to here, I want to switch over to some other music. So an easy way to do this is just to click here. Now, notice I'm clicking on the audio file. I'm not clicking on the video file, I'm clicking on the audio. I get my playhead there, I do a right click on the audio file, and I do a split clip. Now if I think I might want to use this somewhere else or part of it, I can drag like that, and there I got my opening. Now I can do a little fade out right there, probably sound a little better, and here's how it sounds at the end. So you got a little bit of a fade there. Now you can adjust that fade. If you want it to be a little longer fade, you can drag it in further. And, that works pretty good for that. If I wasn't going to be using this here anymore, I could just click on it, press the delete key, and get rid of that audio I no longer need. And this here, if I change my mind, maybe I want this audio clip somewhere else. Maybe I want to move it up here. I can just move it around. Another thing is, if I bring it back here and I also change my mind, and I decide, whoops, all that I just trimmed there, I actually want to go a little further. The nice thing is I can just drag on the end here, and it will just continue the song. It remembers, all what's there, and I can just drag it out further. Or do the opposite. Maybe I trimmed it here, and I decide, no, I don't want that much. I can just drag it in the other way. If I don't want to start right from the beginning, okay, if I do this, I'm moving the entire piece of music I have. If I don't want to start in the first note, maybe I want to start when they start singing, I can go on the left side and drag. Now, when I drag like that from the left, I'm going into the song. So when I go up to here, and then I pull the whole thing back, I'm no longer at the beginning of the song. I'm going to come in somewhere partway into that song. Okay? So maybe that's what I want. Okay? So that's a couple of things with this here, and you can layer audio. Maybe you want, maybe you're not doing a sports segment. Maybe you're making a movie and you got sound effects. You can put them, have another layer of audio down here. We've done 3 or 4 layers of audio before in here, so you can do that. Now up here it says sound effects. Okay, sound effects are the ones we use are mainly built into iMovie. The only thing I'm going to show you real quick here is if you click on that, now we have another place we can go from here, and that's this pull-down menu right there. Now if you go to the top of it, we have something called effects, and then sound effects, and iLife sound effects, and a bunch of categories here. Now in a future lesson when we're doing some projects, I may take you and show you around some more up here. For right now, I'm going to take you to the one we use all the time for like HCTV, and it's called Jingles. When we go to Jingles, it brings up these little pieces of music. Now, these are just instrumental. They're designed to be background music on projects, and they come in all kinds of styles. Some are laid back, some are fast-paced, some are rock, some are country, some are jazzy, all different styles. And if you take a look here, a lot of these pieces have 3 options. Like here we have Bossa Lounger Long is 32 seconds. Then they have a medium one that's 14 and another one that's 7. So for example, let's say I like Backbeat Long and I want to use it for part of the football. I can click on that, drag it down here, and just like with that piece of music, I can do my editing. Now this one, as you can see, came in way softer. Okay, so I can do a couple of things. First of all, I can turn down the audio in these clips. Okay, quite a bit more. And I can click on here and bring this audio up more. So then I could get something more like this. And again, that may not be an ideal audio mix, but at least you can continue editing and tweaking it. And that's common to bring in pieces of music and they come in at different volumes. So the jingles are really nice. You don't have to worry about them being blocked on YouTube or anything. They got all different lengths here. If you need one longer than they have, maybe you want to do a minute of it, but you only got a 35-second piece there, you can just click on it, copy it, move your playhead where you want to continue, do a paste, and bring it in multiple times. And just like with any other piece, you can fade in, fade out. You can drag from either side if you only want to use part of it. And they're built into iMovie. You have a whole bunch of them here. And we use these a lot. So if you don't have any songs you got planned, this is a good place to go for music. So that's kind of a crash introduction to audio here. The more you work with it, the more you try things out, the better you get at it. And so we'll be working with the audio this week.